I grew up in the United States of America, and about the age of 13, I pretty much came to the conclusion that there wasn't a God. And at about the age of 14, growing up in a less than prosperous, semi-rural, semi-suburban community where there were a lot of evangelicals, many of which showed the signs of very violent domestic situations, I came to the conclusion it would probably be a good idea to keep that quiet. And I basically hid my Protestantism, my atheism, sorry, from the Protestants through high school in the same way that I've met a lot of Jewish kids who hid their Judaism through high school growing up in America. There's a lot of people out there who are Muslims, who are Jews, who are agnostics, atheists, Buddhists, who are lying, who are hiding. I think Americans don't realize the enormous toxic pressure in most areas to be Christian. And I think it's about wake-up call because, frankly, a society is, when you look at the world societies right now, if you look at the societies where there's a growing atheism and agnosticism, these are societies that respect human rights, respect liberty. If you look at the societies where religion is rebounding or regrowing, you're seeing it. This also goes hand in hand with a fundamentalism. The growth in the 21st century, the growth of religious feeling is now the hallmark of oppressiveness. I think we were very blinded to this in the Cold War, where we equated religious freedom with the freedom of the individual. And we failed to also learn the lessons that throughout most of human history, the existence of religious institutions have been a very coercive factor in restraining our secular rights, and well, that's a Freudian slip, our secular rights and our sexual rights, officially, and not in a Freudian slip, but not an inaccurate one. Really, if you stop to think about it, if somebody really believes in God, not the kind of, yeah, I believe in God thing most people do, but if you really believe in God, you really take it seriously, you're like Ned Flanders believe in God, right? What other option is there but fundamentalism? You got like all these stars you can see at night. They go on and on and on. And we know there's galaxy after galaxy after galaxy. And it's massive. As far as we can see, it's 13 billion light years out. We're seeing stuff. And it's amazing. And all the things that we've seen, you just look at Jupiter, which is as massive as all the other planets in the system. And, God sort of created that to kind of be there. And maybe he just wanted a big rock that didn't do well. It's not really a rock, a big massive gas, but Earth was the important one. If you believe that all of this galaxy, which we're at the kind of distant edge out, kind of floating in an insignificant area, in a hub of galaxies, which is part of a matrix, a web of galaxies spreading out through the universe for tens, perhaps, of billions of years. We don't know, light years. We don't really know. And that there's a single person who's sort of watching every single subatomic particle at one time. And that this single person has thought to communicate to us here on Earth and give us instructions. You kind of have to be a fanatic. I think Neil Stevenson said that one thing. If you really did believe in God, why would you think about anything else? And I think really actually that we as human beings are pretty good at compartmentalizing what we believe. And so people go to Sunday and they compartmentalize, they believe in God, but then when they leave, they can turn that off. And we normally call this hypocrisy, but I think this is essential for our survival. Okay? I think day to day, nobody could survive in a capitalist system. They really believe the teachings of the Gospels. This idea that Jesus was capitalist is insane. The capitalist system that we live in, it totally contradicts the Gospels. The thing is that some of us don't hold that Christian compartmentalization anymore, and we're atheists. And I think it's about time America understands that it owes a great deal to the presence of these people, to its own liberty. A number of the founding fathers were agnostic atheists, including Jefferson, who is such a favorite, was a utilitarian. He probably didn't believe in a personified or personalized God. Glenn Beck likes him. Number of the founding fathers were certainly Hamilton, I believe, was an atheist. Probably the founding fathers had a higher concentration of atheists than you would meet in any committee of the United States Congress nowadays. Um, and Plus, it's, under the Constitution of the United States, under the laws, human rights provisions of the UN, under every system and law, it's everybody's right to choose not to believe in God. And secondly, why, if you really did believe in God, which I have to, say, I'm not sure how many people really do, but if you really did believe in God, why would you want someone who didn't believe in God to lie that he did or hide that he did? I mean, I think you probably, want us to be clear that, oh, I do and you don't. It's like, if you believe in God, then you have the ultimate Gucci bag. I mean, that would be it. If you really believe that you have God, that you are got the chosen religion, and you've got the ultimate Gucci bag ever made. And certainly, you wouldn't really want everybody to have one of those Gucci bags now, would you? I mean, and religious people seem to understand this, where they put their nose up at other people for being hypocrites or not being observant enough or anything like that, but they still want to eradicate the expression of atheism. And I think there's a really very good reason for that. I think that the trend in the West we know where the trend is going. If you teach evolution in school, evolution is so much more rational than creationism. Modern cosmology is so much more reasonable than the creation myths in the Old Testament. That in time, the facts as they accumulate make the hypothesis that there's this old guy up there who did this because he's kind of like a human being, and he thinks like a human being, and he's got a brain like a human being, and he talks and he uses language, and he talks to Lucifer, and he talks to the angels, and he talks to Adam, and everything in the universe that ever happened. The meteorite that may have slammed down and killed the dinosaurs, well, that didn't really happen, but they don't believe that. But I guess, the things we saw the Shoemaker-Levy asteroids that hit Jupiter. That was God just sort of like, wow, look at that. I mean, just, and then, going beyond, all the planets around all the stars that we're finding. Those are, watched by God. God loves them equally and stuff like this. I mean, this is kind of like what got Copernicus in trouble, because when you stop to think like this, and one of the things of the early Catholic Church, why it denied the fact that there could be multiple stars like the sun, is that these stars could have planets around them, and these planets could have people. But then these people would then have to have their own Jesus Christ or be forsaken by God. And this caused an enormous can of worms. And what's funny is that back in the Renaissance, the Catholic Church saw this coming. They could understand that understanding the size of the galaxy made the belief in the God ridiculous. But, so far we still have this ideal, particularly strong in America and the developing world, particularly the Islamic world, but also in India. But, I'm not saying outlaw Christianity myself, but I'm just saying, you know what? Atheists are out there, and I don't think young atheists should be afraid to state, I can't believe. And I was when I was young, and I'm pissed off that it still happens.